This is probably going to be the last weekend you can get these gardening jobs done before it's too late. So just for context, it's the end of October and the beginning of November. It's getting darker earlier, the days are getting shorter, and that means less gardening time. The plants are getting ready to go dormant and to stop growing altogether. So now is the time that you need to do these 5 jobs before it's too late. Before I get into it, just a friendly reminder to let you know about our gardening club, which I started last Friday. We premiere the video at 5 p.m. on a Friday. That's London time. But by premiering it, it opens up the chat, which means you can talk with each other in real time as the video plays. The idea is that we'll grow a gardening club of like-minded people who sort of gather around the 5 p.m. slot every Friday to have a chat and chill out after a week's work and prepare for whatever we're going to do in the garden over the weekend. Hopefully you'll be able to make friends, grow the community and share hints and tips in that chat as well. And it's completely free. No membership requirements, no monthly fees, nothing like that. It's just free. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, let's just jump right in. Number 1, sow hardy perennials and hardy annuals. By sowing them now, especially if you're going to start them indoors in a greenhouse, especially would be great in a polytunnel like mine. They start to have a little bit of growth, and I'm showing you some examples of ones that I've already done just recently. I've got some echinacea there, I've got some larkspur, I've got some calendula. These will then overwinter, so they'll stop growing. Sweet peas, of course, is another one you can do now. They'll stop growing over winter, but by spring, they'll be ready to really take off. This is going to give me a really nicely early crop of flowers. I'm not going to have to wait till late summer to see my larkspurs, my calendulas. I've got carnations growing as well. Anything that's hardy that can survive a winter, foxgloves, sweet peas, echinacea, sweet William, all these kinds of plants, they can be sown now. Sweet peas especially are a great one to sow now. I just sowed some delphinium as well, and I'll be doing lots more over the coming days and this weekend. And I'm even going to do another video on the whole list of things that I am sowing. Number 2 is prune hedges, trees, shrubs, roses, shape them up. Roses, maybe not so much. I did say you can actually stagger your rose pruning. But the reason I say prune them now is because we can take some cuttings. So first of all, let's cut all our hedges back. Don't cut berries off, mind you, because you do want to be feeding the birds. So leave any seed heads and berries available for the birds, but shape up your trees. I'm going to be shaping up my yew because I cut it back hard about 2 years ago. And I was waiting for it to bush out a little bit so I can start shaping it. I want a nice curvy rounded shape, and now is a good time to prune that because you can't prune it in spring when all the birds start nesting and having their babies. So now is a really good time to do that. And the reason I say now especially is because this leads me on to number 3. Number 3 is you can take cuttings from your prunings, but you can also take cuttings from plants you're not necessarily wanting to prune, but you just want to take cuttings of. So for example, I've taken cuttings from my buddleias and from this hebe here. It's a really good time to take them, grow new baby plants ready for next year. Take material that doesn't have flowers or berries on it, and then you basically cut it to a node, and then I'm going to bury several of the nodes into a pot of very moist compost, which I will cover with a water bottle, which will act like a propagator. Then I'll put it in a tray and I'll bottom water and keep that moist throughout winter. And by the end of winter next spring, I'll have new baby hebe plants. I've also done, for those of you who feel a bit more nervous about doing cuttings this way, I've also done some buddleia in water, and they have rooted successfully so far. So I'm just going to keep them in the water over winter. I'm going to keep refreshing the water, and then when they're a little bit stronger, I will pot them up. But you mustn't let them dry out once you pot them up. You must keep them going till they're quite a substantial plant. The other one I've done is pyracantha, so I cut back my pyracantha, not the berries, leave the berries on the trees for the birds, but any spare tips that are growing too tall, that have run away with themselves, you can cut those back and propagate them. Roses too, but I'll do another video on doing hardwood cuttings from roses. I'll do a dedicated video. So that's number 3. Number 4 is another one, a bit propagating. We're going to make new plants from old plants, old perennials this time that we've got in the garden. So we can make new plants from our peonies, I've done a whole video on that. And new plants from Achillea, I've done another video on that. But I still had more Achillea to dig up. Other plants you can cut and divide into new plants at this time of year are Echinops, Shasta daisies, or Leucanthemum as they're also known. You can divide salvias, you can divide Veronica, you can divide, as I said, peonies and Achillea. Anything with those big roots where you get those new shoots coming up through the big root base at the bottom, you can literally cut those up into new plants. I'll tell you another one is Achillea. Although it's much smaller and more delicate to split, you can also even split that one now at this time of year. I mean Aquilegia. I didn't mean Achillea, I meant Aquilegia. Columbine. Granny's bonnet. And the final job is to move in any of those frost tender perennials that you have in pots, such as your geraniums, pelargoniums, etc. They're just a bit iffy as to whether, well, geraniums definitely won't survive a hard frost, so you need to bring those in. Dahlias in most parts of the UK need to be lifted and stored safely somewhere dry over the winter so that they don't rot. Actually, here in the southeast, we can overwinter them in the garden, but even so, if it's a very wet winter, they may rot. If you want to be on the safe side, lift them and bring them in. Anything that you want to overwinter without dying. If you grow chilies, did you know chilies are perennials? You don't have to leave those to die outside. You can bring them in and overwinter them inside and just have them grow on next year. But some will overwinter in the greenhouse, such as your geraniums, but you just need to bring them in because any minute now you're going to get a frost when you least expect it. And then if you haven't done it now, you'll lose those plants for good. Right, that's it. They're the 5 kind of urgent jobs you need to do now. Otherwise, you'll lose your window of opportunity to do them later. So I hope that video helped you. I hope it's given you a plan of what to do this weekend. Don't forget, by the way, to watch my Friday premiere video where we'll join our other gardening friends in the chat. And this week's video is going to include a visit to the Great Dixter, world famous Great Dixter cottage garden. All right, until that time, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your friends, tell them about the Friday video, and I'll see you again in my next video. And don't forget to visit my website as well, www.jillbrotherton.com. See you again soon. Bye.